If a child has gone no contact with their parent, it is always the parent's fault. I know some people aren't going to like what I just said. I know some their face is starting to get hot right now. Okay. I know that heat wave is rising up, the Kundalini. I know that heat wave is rising up through them chakras. I know you getting that knot in your throat. You getting that knot. You starting to get upset. You starting to get emotional, getting reactive. You already typing in the comments. I know. But I want you to woosah and I want you to chill and listen because it's the truth. Anytime a child goes no contact with their parents, it is always the parents' fault. Of course, there's exceptions to the rule, but let's not forget that exceptions also prove the rule, because you cannot have an exception to a rule if a rule doesn't exist in the first place. So, of course, if you're an exception, if this ain't you, if it don't apply, let it fly. However, the vast majority of parents whose children have gone no contact, it's your fault. It is your fault. And hearing parents whose children have gone no contact with them try to flip the blame, Darvo, try to flip the blame on their children, okay, and try to make it out like, oh, it's the child. My child was so ungrateful. My child, like Linda Hogan is saying, my child is a narcissist. Oh, got to weaponize that therapy speech. Don't forget that. Very typical behavior with Darvo as well. You have her saying that my child is a narcissist. Oh, now I'm the victim. My child is the one who abused me. And, nobody knows what she was like. My child was like when she was drinking, et cetera, et cetera. It's the same old two-step. Y'all parents out there whose kids have gone no contact and you're sitting here trying to blame the child. Sorry, but it's you. You are to blame. You are always to blame. Why? Because you are and always have been the adult in the situation. You have decades of life experience on your children. You are not on the same level playing field as your children. And that's why a lot of your children, your adult children, have gone no contact with you. Because when they were children, you're doing the same thing to them now as when they were children, which is behaving like they are on the same equal level playing field as you, the adult in the situation. And they never were, and they still aren't. You have decades of life experience on your child. You are the adult. You wanted to have the child. You chose to bring the child into this world. You chose to take on that responsibility. And you were always the power broker in the relationship. You were the adult. So one of the things that, a lot of us experience as children with boomer parents and Gen X parents, that 50% of y'all Gen Xers, one of the things that we would experience is having our parents, one of the reasons why, boomer parents and those Gen X parents, one of the reasons why they think that they can blame their children for their children going no contact and never take accountability for themselves is because in their mind, their emotionally immature mind, because a lot of these boomer parents and Gen X parents, a lot of them are emotionally immature and were emotionally immature when we were kids growing up and they were raising us. A lot of y'all in your emotionally immature mind, you put your child at the same level as you. You gave your power away to a child that you were projecting adult behaviors and adult intentions onto. And you never recognized that your child was just a child. You treated them like adults. You treated your children like they were adults when they were literally brand spanking new on this planet. That's why when your children were making just regular, normal developmental mistakes, you would lose your shit, go off on them as if they should know better when they were 8 years old. Sometimes younger, 5, 4, 3. Some of y'all are screaming in toddlers' faces. Have been and are. Because they spilled something. Because they have not developed the motor skills to be able to pour a glass of milk without spilling a little bit. But you placed them on this level of being an adult equal to you when they were just children. That's why when children do normal children behavior, y'all will be out here talking about they're so manipulative. Are they manipulative, or are they just a child trying to figure out life on this planet when they are brand spanking new? A freaking 6-year-old has been on this planet for 6 years. They just started walking 4 years ago. And y'all would be going off on these kids, going off on us as children, because you would put us on this not on a pedestal, but you would act like we were on the same level playing field with y'all because you were emotionally immature. So of course you saw yourself on the same level as children because you yourself were emotionally immature. And that's why when those children grow up and they decide to go no contact with your emotionally immature, abusive ass, right? When they decide to go no contact with you, you still trying to blame them. As if you're not the person who has 20, 30, 40, sometimes more years of life experience on this young adult who is finally setting a boundary with you. It's the same mentality that had you yelling at little toddlers for spilling the milk. Beating children because they broke something in the house. Instead of just accepting that this is a natural part of development. That's why so many of y'all boomer parents and y'all Gen Xers, that 50%, so many of y'all would take such an affront to your children's quote unquote bad behavior. You would be so, it would just throw you so off because you're looking at this child like they are on the same level as you. When you were always the boss. And now that your child is an adult, you are now the elder in the relationship. You are an elder now. And you still don't want to take responsibility. You still trying to blame the kid for your shitty relationship. You were the adult the whole time. You parents, you are the ones who are responsible for cultivating the relationship with your children. That's it. You cannot expect a fucking 4-year-old to establish a relationship in a healthy way with you when you're supposed to be their example. You're the leader. You're the boss. But when you're emotionally immature, you don't realize that. And that's why y'all boomer parents will be out here fighting with little freaking toddlers. That's why you will be screaming at kids for doing just normal kid things. Normal kid mistakes. God forbid you drop that glass and it broke. All hell's got to rain down on your head now. Because why? I'm an emotionally immature parent who doesn't know how to regulate.